How do those words sound?
They're my favorite words ever. Yeah.
Describe that moment. It seemed like just pure joy. You're jumping around, running around with the flag. What was that? What was that moment like for you?
It was unreal. It was probably it's going to go down as one of my favorite memories of all time, I think. But it just happened, so I need time to digest it. But I've never had such a wonderful crowd like that, and I truly fed off of it in all of my matches. I went out there and I felt focused. I felt sharp and eager to get my points and to fight hard, and it was just incredible. And especially, like women's wrestling, sometimes we have empty arenas, and so having an arena like this, it was amazing. I have no words for it.
It was truly amazing to watch. Getting into the wrestling a little bit, pretty much dominated to the finals. Getting to that left-handed underhook, that's such a signature for you. Did you think that would be a key focal point in the final the way it was?
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Watching a lot of her matches, I noticed that she likes distance, and a lot of times people tie up with her and then she snaps and clears it. So I was expecting that. I was also expecting here and there that if I would drive the underhook to the edge, that she might try to wizard kick and get me out for a one-point push-out. So I was drilling all of those in the warm-up. So I was erring on the cautious side. However, I was still going for my attacks and stuff like that. My main goal during the match was to get to my ties and pressure, move, stay active. Yeah.
Could you talk about maybe the evolution of your underhook? When did that become it's such a dominant hold and you get to it against everyone. When for you in your wrestling career did that become something that you could shut pretty much everyone down with?
I've always loved being up close. I grew up doing a lot of Greco moves and throws. I did judo when I was younger, and so for me the idea of space with wrestling it's not something I like, because I'm only relying on my eyes. The second I have my hands on somebody, I not only rely on my eyes, but I can feel their movements. And so for me personally, I like to be as close as possible to my opponent, and so when I have an underhook, I feel like I can control so much. I control their shoulder. It's not the same as having just a wrist or even a 2-on-1. So I think if you learn how to control an underhook correctly, then it can be a super powerful weapon.
Clearly. What's the moment been like, you and your mother? Your mother's back here with you. What was that first moment, that first embrace like between you and your mother?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it was unreal. I just started crying. I couldn't hold back my emotions at that point. Me and my mother have an ongoing joke before all of my competitions that she starts talking like, I know you can do it. What am I going to tell you after? And I'm like, shh, don't, quiet. Because I don't want anybody to say, oh, you're going to win. Because for me, that's bad luck, and truly you never know what's going to happen with wrestling. We saw so many upsets today, and the other day, anything can happen in wrestling. And so I'm like, don't say that. But now when I'm done, everybody was like, okay, now's my turn, I'm gonna tell you. And then they're like, okay, 3, 2, 1, I told you so. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, yeah, you win, you were right, I became an Olympic champion. Isn't that crazy?
A little bit,
Yeah.
I mean, you're undefeated in your senior level career. 20 years old, you're already a 3-time world and Olympic champion. That is truly unprecedented, very rarefied air. What do you think is the biggest contributing factor in your preparation at 68 kilograms?
Well, I've received a lot of support from Sarah McMahon, and we've just endlessly drilled a bunch of the positions, and we really scouted all of my opponents extremely well, and I have done numerous drills for every single person that I could have possibly wrestled, so I came in very prepared. On top of that, earlier in the year, my cuts for 68 were awful. I felt like I could barely wrestle out there, whereas now this was the best cut I've ever done, and I'm not experienced cutting. And the reason for that is my brother.
Yeah.
He is a scientist. He is so knowledgeable, and he worked his butt off very intensely. He goes to UCSF to work ahead so that he could come with me, travel with me, and so for the past week and a half here, he has helped me with all of my nutrition and training, and I think the reason I have felt so good and the reason I performed well is because of him.
You talked a lot about your belief and sometimes not having that confidence. What's been the key for you this last, I don't know, maybe the run up to the Olympics for building that confidence? And do you feel like you've gotten over the hump there from a confidence standpoint?
This is going to sound crazy, but I feel like I have a little bit of imposter syndrome because, I still feel like just that little kid that just started wrestling, and now I am an Olympic champion. I don't believe those words that I just said. So it's going to take me a long time. What I did today, actually, which is also going to sound crazy, to help myself, I constantly throughout the day told myself, you're going to become an Olympic champion today. You're going to become, like, literally again and again and again. I did not stop. Normally I don't do that competitions, but today I was like, I don't want to get, it just started glowing, the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, but I don't want to get in my head. So I was like, again and again, you're going to become an Olympic champion. And I was like, I don't care if it's crazy. I need to believe this. I need to go out there confident. And so it helped me, and I was able to go out there and get my ties and not get in my head too much.
I mentioned it to you earlier, but youngest Olympic champion in USA wrestling history. What are your thoughts on that and accomplishing what you have at such a young age?
It's really hard to believe. I had no idea. Just like winning senior worlds at 18, I had no idea I was the youngest. I do believe that age is just a number, and we see that all the time. We see up-and-coming young rising stars that perform well and beat veterans. That's just the way it is with wrestling. I do know that from a very young age, I've always strived for very, very high goals. When I was little, I was like, I want to become an Olympic champion. I want to go to the Olympics at 16, but then I found out it was 18. But I've always had these very high expectations of myself, and so I think when you have that for yourself, but you also stay positive and focused and consistent, you can achieve really great things.
We talked inside about that period you went through during COVID.
Yes.
Where you started to feel like a job. What was draining you of the joy of wrestling that you had before?
I don't want to get into the details of it, but my environment within wrestling, my practices, my training environment, it just became not enjoyable anymore. There was so much negativity surrounding it. I was convinced that I was an awful wrestler, that I had no skills, that maybe I was strong, but that was my only attribute. And so it took a lot mentally to be able to not only believe in myself, but be like, I am a good wrestler. And it's been so hard for me to believe because I've somehow have convinced myself that I'm not good at wrestling, which is funny. I'm an Olympic champion. But I think, I'm a perfectionist. I'm hard on myself. And that environment was not the best for me, and it took a lot of bravery to make a change. And now I have such a wonderful support system, and I'm just breathing positivity. I'm really just making sure I'm happy. I'm enjoying the process every single day, because why else are we doing this if we're just miserable? So I think I just had that realization, and I think that has actually contributed to me performing even better than I was. I think you might have seen in the 2023 World Finals when I won, that was really difficult for me. I was going through a lot at that time, and I was disappointed in myself for not loving wrestling when I won. I was like, I should be happy, and I was like, no, I need to heal this relationship with wrestling. And so I think that can happen in all areas of life with different hobbies and things and jobs and everything. And so I think it's a process and way easier said than done, but just recognizing, wait, I'm unhappy, what can I do about this, reaching out for help, things like that.
Do you think you bond with Sarah the way you did had it not been for the food poisoning?
Yes, I think I would bond with her either way, definitely. She is just an incredible person, and there's that, we just work well with each other, we understand each other, and throughout this competition, when I step on that mat and I'm feeling those nerves, I look down and I see her face in the corner, and she has that game face, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're ready. I have her in my corner, we're ready. So yeah, she's amazing. I'm just so happy we got to do this together. She's 2004 Olympic silver medalist. 20 years later, on the anniversary of the first year that it was added to the Olympics, here she is in my corner, helping me achieve my dream. It's just such a full circle moment.
Amit, thank you so much for your time. I know you've done a lot of media. Really appreciate you taking a little time for us. Enjoy this moment. Congratulations, and you made all of USA proud. Thank you.
Yay! Thank you.